secure the bag. Don't even blink, make them walk the plank. Walk it, light them up, let's make them sing. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. On Bucs, yeah, we on. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. The whole field's our red zone. Let me give you 55 reasons why this is our season. Palm trees breezing, opposing teams bleeding.
All right, welcome back to Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. Remember, you follow me, I'll follow you back. A lot of people get KB mixed up with that, but it's Gene. You follow me, I will follow you back. KB, a little bit more discretionary, of course, but I don't mind doing it. But everybody, welcome everybody. I'm glad that you can all join us here. I look forward to hearing what you having to say in the chat. How are you feeling about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers? They're at 3-1. A lot of people did not expect that. Great news. There will be an apology tour. I'm the way things are shaping up right now. I can't say there will be maybe two. I'm pretty sure there will be two. And I don't mind being wrong. That's the cool thing about the show. I don't mind being wrong. I can be wrong. If it benefits the team, I can be wrong. But anyway, Jonas, how you doing? How's it going, Jonas? Christopher Cole, how you doing? I want to introduce my esteemed colleagues. I'm going to start this week with KB, Ken Barrett, not to be mistaken for Shaq Barrett. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. We're on the bye week. We're 3-1, which is one win better than I think anyone could have asked for. So I'm doing good.
That's what I'm talking about. And the man with the plan, Michael Pless. And folks, before I bring him in, I do want to say, please follow Real Bucs Talk. If you're not following Real Bucs Talk, you need to be, or vice versa. Great content this week. I love what you've done, and really breaking that down and helping people understand this Bucs team a whole lot more. So, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, gentlemen. It feels great to be right, but also at the same time, it's starting to get annoying.
You're getting tired of seeing Baker Mayfield on every popular television show?
It's just like I try to tell people this in the off season, and but I'm happy that the Bucs are proving me right, because looking at it, it just baffles me still to this day that people picked the Panthers or Falcons to win this division, even the Saints for that matter, without giving this.
I understand. It's the Falcons and Panthers that I think is unforgivable.
Well, even the Saints, I mean, I know they went out, they got Derek Carr, okay, decent quarterback, but for me, when you really analyze that team, it was the coaching staff. I'm like, they just don't have a good staff, and obviously it hasn't been working for them.
For me, it was just the schedule for the Saints. It just looks juicy on the surface, but again, the team has to perform week after week, which Dennis Allen just doesn't seem like to be, the guy for the job. Yeah.
And I, for one, I do want to get this out of the way, and it will be forever on the internet once I say this. I was questioning, you guys know this, I deserve all the heat and all the slander, but I was questioning Todd Bowles. I was questioning big time. I was questioning Baker Mayfield just based on his body of work. But when you take a step back and look at everything, just how this man is reading defenses and how he's handling pressure situations. And I think this may have been what was missing last season when you had a Tom Brady back there, and this is no slight to him. You've got somebody that can make plays with his legs. And there were several times that we saw where Baker he got the ball and he moved the ball down the field. We're moving the chains and we're extending plays. That's something that I think that really plays into a Dave Canales offense. And I'm sure, plus you can speak to that a little bit more, but I'm super excited about, what we're seeing here. And, everybody's playing consistent and everybody's playing, within their roles, which was really exciting for me last week. Everybody was doing their job, even Logan Hall.
Yeah, Logan Hall.
He actually had a good game. I feel like as much as he had in the previous 3 weeks, which allowed him to I think Mark was it you or Mark that did a pretty good breakdown of him versus the Saints. Where a lot of his wins when he did win was against one-on-one. Like it was those double teams against the Eagles, double teams against the Bears that just didn't look good. But in one-on-ones, if he can win his one-on-one matchups, then that's good news, especially if Kancey comes back. I think he did really good when he was playing outside. As again, I think Mark pointed that out pretty well on your guys' most recent video. So again, it allows Bowles to mix it up. Shaq Barrett was playing a little bit more inside. You never know what's going to happen with Todd Bowles, and I think he's done. To Gene's point about Todd Bowles, I think he's done a really good job. I think of innovating what he does from a defensive standpoint. It's not the Dan Quinn cover 3. We're just going to live and die, and it's just based on personnel. It's just like, hey, I think he's adjusted with the times, and getting Dave Canales just allows him to really have some job security because I think he got the right guy.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, when you look back at last season, we're in the bye week, so we have a lot of stuff to cover. But when you look at last season, you can really see where Todd Bowles reined a lot of stuff in, and he was a lot more conservative than he could have been. And I feel like, just based on what I've seen from preseason to now, he's got a little bit more. He's got more confidence in his offensive coordinator to go out there and call a good game, and he can focus more on the defense and special teams. So I'm really excited about that. Kind of moving forward. And again, that apology tour. Just wait. It'll be at the start of every podcast. I will apologize to Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles. Just because I don't mind being wrong. And KB will attest to this. Back when Tom Brady first got here, I was probably the only Buck fan that was indifferent. I was still pissed off about Jameis Winston throwing a pick 6 against a team that I hate more than any other team in the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons. And, the Bucs lost in that fashion, and I was just mad. I stewed throughout the whole offseason. Didn't appreciate a lot of the people that were coming in. So you fast forward to now. And KB, we've talked about this. KB's like, hey, man, don't jump out the window. It's not going to be as bad as you think it is. I'm like, okay, let me just be cautiously optimistic. And that's been my term since the beginning of the season. I'm sure you guys have heard me say it, cautiously optimistic. And, I'm buying into this because, the team is. Baker Mayfield came in and endeared himself to the team, which is you're supposed to do as a leader. And everybody's on the same page. And it's a beautiful thing. If they can consistently keep that up, man, it's going to be a nice season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, absolutely. It's, like we talked about, I've talked about this with you guys all off season. When you look at last year's team, what was the biggest problem? It's our trigger word, Leftwich, right? He was the biggest issue.
He that will not be named.
Yeah. So, Lord Leftwich or Lord Voldemort, whatever you want to call him.
Exactly.
That was our issue last year. And when Todd Bowles went into the offseason, he's like, we got to get an offensive coordinator that I can trust, a guy that can handle that side of the ball by himself. It's very similar to, when John Gruden was here. We already had Monty Kiffin. So Monty Kiffin ran the defense, right? And John Gruden did his thing on offense. Now you're seeing that with Todd Bowles, getting a guy that he believes in as far as Dave Canales, and he's come in and he's implemented this offense. And he found a quarterback that fits it perfectly, and that is Baker Mayfield. Right. So Baker knows how to run the offense. He knows, how to make those plays outside the pocket or inside the pocket, extending plays, avoiding sacks. Arm strength's good enough to hit, what he needs to hit as far as the outside throws that they are, implementing and targeting, and then using that to open up the intermediate part of the field. So it's just been a really good balance on both sides defensively. You're doing a lot with your secondary. You're letting them play to their strengths, playing a lot more zone coverage, keeping things in front, not really giving up the big play, coming up and tackling as a unit. And obviously you got some, surprises as far as like Christian Izien. You look at the offense, Luke Gedeke. No one thought everyone thought he was going to be a revolving door.
Yeah, people were ready to launch his ass into the sun, but he's really turned it.
So basically the whole point I'm trying to make is they found things that were the best for what they had on the roster, as far as playing to guys' strengths and understanding how to utilize their players a lot better. We've seen that so far, throughout the roster.
That's what's up. KB.
I mean, from that standpoint, if we're going to talk about some of those unsung heroes, Christian Izien is not just playing a good starting cornerback. I think he's playing a great starting cornerback.
Yes.
Antoine Winfield, if it wasn't for the rookie for Seattle, having a pick six, I think he's the defensive player of the week. He single-handedly kept, 7 points off the board with Chris Olave on that deep shot, and then, saved, got the Bucs 7 points before the half with that peanut punch out at the goal line and got the ball back for the Bucs inside the 5. So, Antoine Winfield's playing the best of his career. Devin White what do we ask for Devin White is to play solid and consistent. Yeah. And I think for the first 4 weeks, he's done what he needs to do. Luke Gedeke has, again, it's not that I was out on Luke Gedeke. I just didn't think the Falcons game was as good as what I think a lot of people, said it was. I think it was a lot of, optimism and hopefulness that was going on with Gedeke. But with what happened in the preseason, shout out to Josh Capo and Pless, who, again, when I watch games live, I make a reaction. Like those 2 sacks that he allowed in the Pittsburgh game, for instance, were neither his fault. Right. And he's proven that, he can handle, I don't think many, offensive tackles are going to handle, the best the NFL has to offer is the edge position. We have so many top tier elite edges. I don't expect him to go against TJ Watt and swallow him up the way that probably Wirfs would. But I think Luke Gedeke's performing to the level that is allowing this offense to be sustainable. And I forgot who made the comment at the bottom. They were saying that Canales deserves all the credit, not Baker. As one of Baker's biggest disbelievers coming into the offseason after the Bucs signed him, from my point of view, I would say Baker Mayfield outside of the hashes has been near perfect. Baker inside the pocket has been near perfect. The only place he's really struggling is throwing over the middle. And Canales has done a good job scheming him up. Sure. Again, what do we ask for Leftwich? To put players in the best position to succeed. Dave is doing that. That's great. That's everything. But Dave is also not perfect. There's so many ways Dave can get better. He's only called 4 games in the NFL in the regular season. But Baker is playing at a top 10 quarterback level, which if you couple that with the defense, I'm not saying this team's going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm saying that this team is not only equipped enough to win the NFC South, but they are able to at least project and look forward should the season continue the way that it's looking right now.
I will say this. You can't overlook the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Whoever has the Bucs on their schedule, you can't overlook them and look to the next week. This is a team that you have to game plan for. It's not going to be like you're going to walk out there and you're just going to beat them. It's not going to happen. But real quick, I do want to shout out everybody that's watching from Real Bucs Talk and everybody that's watching here. Jonas Steckler, Abraham, Brutalist Bucks, King Cook, what's going on? Mr. Everything Bucks, Jeremy Lowe, what's going on? Susan Hines, I know from X, formerly known as Twitter. What's going on? Watching from the Real Bucs Talk. LC Leprechaun, who's that's my guy right there. And if you ever need anything, man, for beer, I'll make it happen. Just keep that in mind. But thank you everybody. G Vegas, Raleigh Springer, Pellegrin. How do I pronounce this?
Pelagic
Computer. Okay,
yeah,
there we go. Yeah, that's what a 4-year education will get you. A whole lot of nothing. But I want to thank everybody. Super chat that you're shooting out there. I appreciate that. Guys, thank you so much for being in the chat and being entertaining. But what do you think? I'm seeing some things. I'm seeing some things in here. Everything's pretty positive for the most part in the chat. I'm super excited about this.
My only thing is I hope Baker doesn't let everything get to his head. He's on a lot of shows right now. He's getting a lot of credit. He's going to be at the Oklahoma Pick'em this weekend.
Texas
and he was on with Eisen. So I mean, like, I actually have confidence in Baker just being okay. My only thing is if he continues on, with his season, perhaps maybe he prices himself out of Tampa. And I think that's a good problem for the Bucs to have.
Yeah.
So I just know from that standpoint, Baker has every right to work on his branding here. Remember, he hasn't had his big contract. So he deserves this spotlight, this moment. I think he's played well enough. Like when the national media for the past 3 years would just give Tom all the credit for everything. I think Baker has played, and there's times when Big Tom was getting credit when he didn't deserve it. I think right now Baker deserves it. I just hope he has another 13 left in him to where, this can continue and he sets himself up. But yeah, I really like that what he's doing with the team. I like how Light's giving him a lot of credit. All the going with Mike Evans, the dive bars, going to Rays games. Again, he's doing a lot for the community as well. And I think between his charity, he's doing a really good job about marketing, and his football is darn good. So it's a good month to be Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, he's making a believer out of me. There were times where I felt like, let's see what Baker does. Let's see how he does. I thought he handled himself very well in that Eagles game. There have been times where you watch Baker and he's up and he's down, but he's been pretty even flow throughout his tenure here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from what I can see. And again, I'm pleasantly surprised, and you really hope that he can continue on this trajectory. And one person I did want to mention, which he's not getting enough love, is the Punt Prince. My guy he's doing his thing.
Josh Capo's giving him enough love is all I'm going to say.
Well, you know what? We looked at him last year, and I know that you were a little bit aggressive though at times, where you thought that he needed to do some things. There were a few times.
Okay, to his part, he was shanking punts for about 3 weeks. Ended the season strong, but in the middle of the season, he wasn't doing well. I'm not going to call you out. When Byron's making you punt 7 times a game,
I'm sure he's got leg weary.
He does 2 out of 3 good ones. There's nothing to complain about.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, when you're punting the whole game, like Ken was saying, I mean, it's tough to be perfect on every single.
When you're a rookie and you got 7 punts a game, and let's say you don't do well on 2 of them.
Yeah,
like
that hurts your numbers.
It looks bad. Like, okay, if you only punt 3 times, one of them is not perfect, and most of that's because Zion McCollum's not your gunner anymore because he's starting in the secondary. That's a different conversation. I think against the Saints, I didn't really enjoy his first punt. His other 2 were spectacular. In fact, he had good coverage that helped him on one of them that he boomed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's Jake is on his way to a very good season, probably a Pro Bowl season if he continues. Right now he's leading the league in punt average, so he's doing a great job. But I wanted to touch back on Baker Mayfield, and again, he's another one that's making me look good, as far as his numbers. So I appreciate it. I spoke in the group chat when I said this. Everyone just laughed, didn't believe that I said it, but I was like, Baker's going to put up 26 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. And people just they lost their
into an E right now.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, when you put a guy where he's comfortable, and not only is he comfortable right now, but he's playing confident. And that's huge for any player. When they're comfortable in what they're doing and know where to go with the football. Is there times where he still struggles over the middle of the field? Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's there's still issues with his game, but what the Buccaneers are doing is maximizing his strengths. And I always tell you guys, it's about maximizing your players' strengths, hiding their weaknesses, making sure you limit their mistakes as far as what they can't do, and highlighting what suits them best. And the key for this to continue, if the Buccaneers, want to continue winning, and obviously they're on track to win the division and, maybe even potentially winning a playoff game, it's going to come down to, can that run game become effective enough where it's going to open up the play action even more? So that's going to be the huge adjustment. And also hitting those deep shots that are going to become open, because guys are going to start, seeing the film. They're going to understand, okay, they want to hit the intermediate part of the field. So that's going to open up opportunities for Trey Palmer, Devin Tompkins, even Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, whoever.
Yeah.
That's going to be key. But I also I hear other people say, oh, well, Baker's just going to regress to the mean. I'm like, well, maybe not, because when you put him in this type of offense where, again, he's just making the right reads. It's simple reads. It's identifying. He's got answers to everything. I don't see why this can't.
Though too. So it's not like Leftwich where it's all on him. He has 4, turnover worthy passes in 4 games, which to those who aren't aware, that's actually a pretty good number. 2 of them have been interceptions, mind you. I think both of them are well deserved. The one against the Saints was in triple coverage. He shouldn't have thrown it at the goal line. And the other one was against the Eagles when it just started pouring rain right when the Eagles were getting that momentum before half. And I think he just made a bad read to Godwin. The other one, I forgot the 4th one, but the 3rd one is the Chicago Bears. Probably could have been pick 6 worthy. But that's just how the season goes. He only has really 4 turnover worthy throws. And from that standpoint, if you want to compare him to Jameis or Tom.
Oh God, don't steal my thunder. I do want to talk about that, but go ahead.
But so Tom would just eat a pass into the dirt before even trying or attempting. Baker's been able to not only attempt some of those throws, but when they aren't there, using his legs, especially on key downs. So from that standpoint, he's really protecting the ball than I think a lot of people are giving him credit for. And it's because of the process that's instilled in the offense, getting the ball out by a certain time, having high-low reads where you're just reading one corner. That's going to give you the answer to the test. So the process is there. Baker is going to have tests against the Bills and the 49ers. That's fine. But he's passed his tests so far. And 2 of them, I don't think the Eagles game was on him. I also think the Saints defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. They're going to take away the run and they're going to make you pass. Right. You lost Mike Evans, no problem. And that was who he leaned on those first 3 weeks. Yep. So that he has confidence. Devin Tompkins has confidence. Trey Palmer has confidence. Kate Otten has confidence. Mm-hmm. So from that standpoint, those 3 players especially are only going to get better as the season goes on. And I think I trust Canales to be able to use the passing game, to Pless's point, to help facilitate the run game. The Bucs have right now the 2nd best overall pass blocking grades in the NFL. They have the 2nd worst run blocking grades in the NFL. So what that tells me is use that pass to supplement your run game. Throw on first down. First pass against the Saints was what? Play action. That's what we were screaming for Leftwich to do for so long. He's learning. Canales is not going to be perfect, and he's going to go against some of these D coordinators that know what they're doing, and they're going to scheme up for him well, and he's going to have to adjust. This is allowing the Bucs to, again, I think the whole goal for Bucs fans is to be able to say, hey, next year doesn't look as doom and gloom as what people may think. The process is good now. Let's see how they progress after the bye week when hopefully they're healthy. And in the middle of the season, probably when injuries occur, does that success sustain? Because the last thing we want is, I think, again, we're seeing it right now with the Giants. Everyone thought last year the Giants took that step. No, a lot of it was false luck. And then you see it carry over to this year, and it's like, whoa, the process was bad. The players, they won 1-score games. Yeah. Like the Minnesota Vikings, another good one. What were they like? 12-0 in one-score games. You come to this season, they're like 0-3.
Yeah.
Like that's because again, their process was wrong, and also those teams made drastic turnover in their rosters as well. The Bucs don't have that model. If the Bucs lose to Dave Canales to a head coaching job, that's a good thing. But I think what's also showing in the NFL is you have a lot of really good coaches coming from certain trees.
Right. Yeah. And I would have to say that tree in Seattle, I mean, you've got you've got a really
and Sean McVay. I mean, granted, Zach Taylor's going through it right now, but literally everyone who's been a part of those trees has been doing well. They're doing better than the Andy Reid coaching trees. Right. They're doing better than
the Dungy coaching
trees. Your coaching tree. Like there's all of these trees that are going on in the NFL, and the McVay Shanahan tree seems to be the most successful. And Shane Waldron, who got Dave Canales into this scheme and allowed him to obviously help with Geno and now transition over to Baker and the Bucs. That's from the Shanahan McVay tree.
Yeah.
So you have the next coach probably lined up somewhere in one of those organizations.
Yeah, it's a win-win. And one thing I kind of want to go back to is the simplicity of the offense. And plus, you've mentioned this ad nauseum, how this offense is so user-friendly. You had in preseason, you had undrafted free agents and you had rookies that were going out here playing in this offense. And if you're a longtime Bucs fan, how many times have you, and I've talked about this last week and the week before, how many times have you heard people tapping on their helmets? They don't know what the play is. They don't know what's going on. And you've got people that are coming into this offense, just learning it. They're comfortable. They're able to come in and be successful. That's what you need. And that's what gives me hope too. Just that factor in itself, that you got rookies or people that can ease into the NFL. They can ease into the speed of the game because the offense is so user friendly.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's and that's what Dave is doing so well. I mean, it's communication. It's making sure these guys are on the same page. And you look at weeks 1 through 4. There's been specific game plans for each opponent, which is awesome to see. Like he's stolen. I don't know if I mentioned this in our group chat, but he stole a play from Chicago's playbook. They ran the same play, even though it was an interception for us. It was the same play where, again, he's identifying what other teams are doing and he's taking it and and seeing if it can work for them. I mean, last week with the pop passes and the reverses, Godwin throwing
pass,
Godwin throwing a ball. It's really cool to see how he's making things not too difficult for these guys and putting different variations on his plays, but really it's a basic concept, and that's what motion, lots of motion, mixing the run with the pass. It's been a lot of good things. So
real quick, just on that point, how many times in your memory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have you seen an offense that's run this way?
We no, because we're not known for our offense, for one, and two, probably the closest you can get to is John Gruden. But
it was probably Chucky.
Don't forget, who was the first organization that Sean McVay worked for, and Kyle Shanahan interned with? They were interns in the 01-02 Buccaneers organizations before they sprouted their wings and flew for the next 10 years before head coaching jobs presented themselves.
Yeah.
That's probably the last time you saw anything like that, because a lot of it stems from both the Mike Shanahan zone run scheme in the West Coast offense, and then they just exploded and created so many more wrinkles off of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a great point right here. I really love our O-line because it's giving Baker plenty of time to make big plays with his legs too. They're keeping him upright. I know it hasn't been perfect, hadn't been flawless, but they're keeping him upright for the most part, and that's exciting. I really believe that the run game will turn around. And I'm probably one of the few people that's like looking. I'm looking forward to this run game proving a point. I believe they have enough talent there to make plays and help this team win games. At the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. I'm not a fantasy guy. I'm not a pick'em guy. I'm just looking at this team as a whole, and it's about wins and losses. And, winning the NFC South, getting to the playoffs, and competing for a Super Bowl. I mean, it may not happen this year, but this is the direction you want to go. And so I'm real happy with what we're seeing so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also he's protecting himself too. So I mean, the only time he's really taken hits has been on a key third down run, but that's happening once a game. And then there was the whole high-low hit that happened with the Saints. I mean, that's literally the only big hit he's taken through 4 games. Even Brady was getting hit harder than that, 4 weeks into last season. So Hainsey hasn't been perfect. Mox had his ups and downs, but again, he's made his, steady progressions there. I mean, Filer's done okay. So again, the Bucs O-line has got worse, literally being the best left tackle in the NFL right now. I'll eat my words there. I was worried about that. Not that I didn't think he would be good. I didn't think he'd be the best left tackle in the NFL, in this first 4 weeks when you got Trent Williams still playing to his extremely high level. He's challenging for a first-team All-Pro at left tackle. That's insane. And everyone else has been solid other than Hainsey, in my opinion. They in the NFL, PFF is very big on you want to have your offensive line literally just be even keel. You don't want you spend all these resources into the offensive line. You also don't want to have the worst offensive line see Caleb Benenoch, 10 years ago. You don't want that on your offensive line. You want 5 guys to be steady Eddies. I mean, yes, Wirfs is going to get that Brinks truck, but other than Hainsey, I think the process again has been right. If any of those guys go down, I mean, it can't really get much worse than what Hainsey's probably doing right now. And Gadecki's been pretty solid at right tackle. So, I mean, the inside offensive line depth's there. I'm pretty excited to see this group grow and gel together. I don't think a guy like Filer is probably back next year, but we do have inside offensive line depth there too. And again, Godwin's more involved in the offense now. Rashad White, I think, took a lot of positive steps after the first 3 weeks. I don't think you're going to worry about Keyshawn Vaughn or Sean Tucker taking any reps from him. And let's just say if what's his face from Atlanta, what's the running back's name? First round running back.
Bijan.
If Bijan Robinson did what Rashad White did to the 2 defensive backs for the Saints at the goal line, it would be number 1, ESPN Sports Center top 10 play of the week. But because it's Rashad White, it's not getting called out. He took two players' ankles. Let's just call it what it is. Rashad White took a very nice step forward. I think there's a lot of, again, positives, and nothing's perfect, and there's still 3-1. As the great Pewter Report on their last podcast got a text from Mike Greenberg, and Greenberg was literally like, hey, we were eating $70 million in Tom Brady's cap, and we still 3-0 or 3-1.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for? The Saints never, paid their credit card. We're paying our credit card.
They're still kicking the can down the road.
And 3-1.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for?
I'm happy, and I know I'm probably in the minority, but I'm happy with Rashad White. Just a pass-catching running back. And how many times has he dropped the ball this year? I mean, when you're putting the ball in his hands, it's not like Ronald Jones or Charles Sims or even the hamster when he was here. I'm really happy with the way he's playing the game, and I feel like he'll just continue to get better. It's just my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but anyway, so we move forward. So for we're in the bye week right now, and I did want to kind of talk about some players that are injured that could potentially come back. I do want to start with my man, pay that man, Mike Evans. Mm-hmm. And, kind of go down the list. Kalijah Kancey's another intriguing piece to this defense. And I was on, me, I stay on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. And, I check out what people are saying. And somebody was actually upset that Kalijah Kancey hasn't been playing. But when you look back at Vita Vea got injured, didn't play the first few games of the season, and came in and balled out of his mind. So I think and again, from what I saw from Kalijah Kancey, sample size, and then you look at what his film was in college, I'm excited for this guy right here. He's like my focus when he's on the field. I want to see what this guy is doing because I feel like he can definitely be a contributor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, that's our X factor right there for the defense, because if Kalijah Kancey can cause consistent pressure, among that front four,
real quick. You hear what everybody, folks? You heard what he said. Pressure. Sacks are sexy, sexy as hell. Centerfold, sexy, but you're getting pressure on a quarterback. You're getting in their head, and then you're speeding up their clock. So just want to put that out there. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's going to be the difference for this defense. That will be their adjustment. If they can start winning with front four, like just the four only, and get pressure on the quarterback consistently, that will be huge because it just allows you to do so much more as far as disguises and blitzes, things of that nature. But yeah, Kalijah should be back probably for this Detroit Lions game coming up, and yeah, it'll be really exciting to see what he can do, especially next to a Vita Vea, because Kalijah is going to win his one-on-ones consistently. Oh, yeah. So that will be the difference between him and Logan Hall being in there.
Ain't nobody manhandling this dude.
Right. And now with Logan Hall next to Kancey, Logan Hall can actually now move more to the outside, like we mentioned today, where he can do a little bit more as far as what his strengths are instead of facing those double teams that maybe he was facing over the past couple of weeks. So now you're getting guys on islands, and it should allow them to be more effective. It also opens things up for JTS and Shaq Barrett as well.
And for most, like, for instance, we hear all the time on offenses that people say, oh, we have some really good receivers, but if we get that number one guy, it makes everyone else better because instead of having to lean on, Treylon Burks in Tennessee, if we get DeAndre Hopkins, it makes Treylon Burks a really good number two. Vice versa. This is what the Panthers are currently going through right now is they want to get a top receiver because it's like, hey, it's going to make Adam Thielen better. It's going to make Terrace Marshall better. Well, what Kalijah Kancey's going to do is he's going to make Vita Vea better. He's going to make Logan Hall better. He's going to make Shaq Barrett better. He's going to make JTS better just by being there. That's literally what his type of skill set does. And it's what the Bucs are pretty much missing on that interior is that guy who can win fast. And he won fast in his limited snaps at the Vikings. So the potential's there. He's done it. If he's not ready, don't rush it. Look what the Bengals are experiencing with Joe Burrow right now. It's really the same exact injury. But you're 3-1 right now. If he's not ready, he's not ready. But I think he will be, to Pless's point. And I think, again, Amon-Ra St. Brown's looking like he's not practicing right now for the Lions. So who knows? We're coming off the bye. They might be a little banged up. This game got moved into not prime time, but the 4 o'clock prime time. So, again, this is a good stage for the Bucs. If they beat the Lions, remember the Lions beat the Chiefs. I don't think you're going to see the Bucs on number one on anyone's power rankings, but I'm just going to make a joke.
Dude, what are these power rankings
NBC,
for?
No, really quick. NBC
don't pay attention
has notorious Buck haters. Chris Sims, former quarterback for us. Mike Florio hates us. We're talking about not Pete Prisco. What's the other old guy's name that predicted us to only have 2 wins?
Peter King.
Peter King. All 3 of those people, I was going to say a curse word, but I'm going to be nice to Pless and just straight.
Yep, we are the kinder, gentler Buck. What you heard here,
it's fine.
But those 3 guys
for the F-bomb,
are contributors to the NBC top, ranker there, the power rankings. They have us in the top 10. They notoriously hate us. They all predicted us to have under 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah,
that just tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I went on a Giants podcast and they had the Bucs last in the NFC South before we even kicked off, and I was like, "Come on, guys, seriously?" But You know, again,
they have them as first of the NFC?
Say what?
Do they have themselves as first?
Yep, pretty much.
No.
Danny Dimes, and I had to point this out. Danny Dimes got the nickname because he played the Buccaneers. The only reason
no,
he's
not
got
only
that
the Buccaneers. Wasn't it?
No, he put up like.
I was going to say, was it Mike Smith? That was Mitch Trubisky. Never mind.
Yeah, that was Danny Dimes originated because they played the Buccaneers.
Well,
the only reason he's got that nickname.
Field goal. If Matt Gay hits that field goal, then Danny Dimes doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. It's not a thing. So, guys, what? And going back real quick, I've got so many ideas in my head, so many things on my head, but I do want to talk about Dave Canales. How did you feel about how he adjusted from the Eagles game to the New Orleans Saints game? Never having experienced the recent rivalry between the Saints and the Bucs, and there's like an underlying hatred between these two teams. How do you feel like Canales did, adjusting his offense, understanding? I mean, that's one of the things that I'm really excited about too, that I haven't gotten to mention, is how Canales has adjusted from week to week to week, and he's just continually getting better, and he's leaning on his staff, his assistants, to help him to get better. How do you guys how do you see that?
I'm usually long-winded, so I'll keep this short. Granted, Mike Evans got hurt, but when was the last time you saw Mike Evans consistently beat Marshawn Lattimore as
like a drum,
like he did? Granted, he drew that pass interference penalty. He also had like 50-something yards on like 4 catches. Usually, when he beats Lattimore, it's 2-yard touchdown catches or it's a 70-yard bomb. Yeah. He doesn't go 4 or 5 catches for 50 yards and a half. Yeah. So that to me tells you Canales knew how to scheme him open, was able to give Marshawn Lattimore, who's had a pretty good season, some fits. That alone, just for me, will just tell you it was probably the best running game the Bucs had as well. So I don't know what more you could have asked for Canales, especially coming off the Eagles game on a short week, going on the road with only 5 days preparation.
And guys, if you're watching the show, trust me when I say this, Dave Canales, the one thing that I'm excited about and I hope for the rest of the season, he'll continue to get better. He's going to look at the flaws that he has in his game. He's going to look at the mistakes he's made, and he's going to make adjustments. That's the word. That's the magic word that we really haven't heard a lot as Bucs fans over the last few seasons. And prior to Arians getting here, we hadn't heard it for a long time. See, caught myself. You see that? I caught myself. but seriously, all joking aside, I'm all in with Canales. I'm all in with Baker. And at this point, I'm emotionally invested with my man Todd Bowles. The apology tour will start. I mean, these guys have really shown that in games they weren't supposed to win. The Bucs were only supposed to win 1 game before the bye week, and this is according to all your experts and prognosticators and everybody else. The Bucs were only supposed to win 1 game, and maybe they could have lost to Chicago and gone 0-4 going into the bye. So nobody really outside of Bucs land really had the Bucs doing what they're doing right now. And I know there are people out there that, hey, you're patting yourself on your back. You deserve it. For me, cautiously optimistic, being careful here. I'm happy with what we're seeing, and I'm excited for what the future holds.
Well, what's encouraging is other than Kirk Cousins for 3 quarters,
not my Cousins,
in the very first game of the season with the Bucs on the road, all 3 other quarterbacks and Kirk Cousins in the 4th quarter have struggled against this defense. Jalen Hurts had arguably his worst game of the season against the Bucs with backup corners, and Justin Fields was literally just living off of screens and dunks. That's literally what allowed him to get yards, essentially. And then, Derek Carr was literally trying to play the Drew Brees 2020 noodle arm, unable to do anything. That was the same exact game plan that defeated the Bucs in 2020 twice. And we already saw that ain't going to work anymore. And that's, again, dealing with a bunch of injuries. This defense is only going to get better, and the offensive scheme is only going to get better. There's so much to be excited for. I wouldn't say, again, don't punch your Super Bowl tickets. Don't, say this team is going to for sure even make the playoffs or win a playoff game or two. I think, again, just like what I said in the Brady year, I think you really just need to enjoy and appreciate this process.
100%, man. This is going to be a fun team to watch on defense and offense. And keep in mind,
you got your next 4. So that's why this year was vital. That's why Mike Evans didn't get his extension. That's why you only signed Baker Mayfield the 1 year, because you just don't know. But we're seeing all of the stars are lining up for the right process and what the future could look like from these first 4 games. And I think that's amazing to see.
This is exciting. It really is, man. I'm actually looking forward to the Detroit game.
Yeah, I mean, like Ken said, I mean, the process is finally right on both sides of the ball. You have, the coaching staff is making it easier for these guys to execute at a higher level. Defensively, they're doing a lot of good things that they've done in the past. Again, this is a defensive unit that has been together for a while now. Outside of Ryan Neal, that's really the only new person out there. And they're making things happen. You finally, I think the biggest question mark they had defensively was Nickelback, and it seems like they've solidified that answer and then some. Like, because Christian is what?
And cheaply.
Yeah, and cheaply. I mean, undrafted free agent, and Izzy has just given them much more versatility in that back end. And then up front, Vita Vea is having a dominant year. He's playing at a Pro Bowl level. So what's happening is your best guys are playing like they're supposed to. I mean, Antoine Winfield back at free safety, he's having a heck of a year already. He's making a big difference. Now we just got to get a little bit more consistency from, Shaq Barrett and JTS, which I think will come as the season goes on. And like I said, Kalijah Cansey being that X factor, especially as a pass rush guy that just has great technique, can get after the quarterback. But really going into this season, and we spoke it ad nauseum on Real Bucs Talk, it was the offense. That was the biggest thing that needed to produce. And it's starting to get there. You want to see the points per game get up. You want to see that get to maybe 24 points if possible. That'd be awesome to get it up, that high, because I think defensively, this defense is going to allow many teams to go over the 20-point mark. They're that good. They're that solid fundamentally. Now, again, that they have to remain healthy. That's the biggest thing on both sides. It always comes, to that point. But right now, the process is good. And I think Dave is continuing to learn. He's not bringing in the same game plan every week. It's always a new game plan, something fresh.
That's the beauty of it right there.
Yeah. I mean, he's adding new wrinkles in weekly. And he's really figuring out what his guys do well. And I'm excited to see what the game plan is next weekend against Detroit, especially after he's had a week to self-evaluate and really understand, okay, this is what works, this is what doesn't, and try to maximize his players' talents.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm looking for you guys, again, there's so many times that I've been wrong in the offseason. You've been so indifferent about all this. I'm actually looking forward to this game coming up in Detroit. I mean, former division rival.
Hey,
people get to break out the creamsicle. I'm still a little shell shot from my years of going to Houlihan or the Big Sombrero, whatever you want to call it, and going to games and going to seeing these division rivals that just fill the stadium. It didn't matter what NFC North team it was, whether it's Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago. or Detroit. They're always filling up Houlihan Stadium. It just because it's a vacation, because the weather's nicer than the crappy weather they got to deal with. And just, oh my goodness, having to walk back to Tampa Bay Center after a loss, man, was just like, it's traumatic. You guys do not understand. So everybody's like nostalgic about the creamsicle, and I'll get off my soapbox here in a second. But from what I've seen from this defense, from what I've seen from the offense, special teams, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this game. I will be rocking some creamsicle myself. I didn't say that I didn't think I would, But here I am. Buck what you heard, we'll be rocking creamsicle for that game.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be great. I was at let's see, last time I was at a creamsicle game. I think that was Josh
right?
Freeman. What
was it? 2010? It was 2010 when
no 2009 I think was the last creamsicle game I attended in person. And that was Josh Freeman's first start against the Green Bay Packers. And he actually won that game, which was
I remember that game.
Sammy Stroughter, I believe, with the game-winning touchdown. So yeah, a lot of fun with the creamsicle jerseys, and it'll be great to see all the guys participate in this one and have just bringing back that nostalgia. It should be a lot of fun. The stadium's going to probably be decked out. So
will the Lions wear white if we're in creamsicle?
I forget if the Lions are going to wear their throwbacks as well, but I'm sure they'll have some type of.
That'll be fun though. I didn't know they had throwbacks that they were unveiling, but that makes sense.
I don't know if they are.
They do it on the home when they do the special jerseys, so that's why.
So do you guys have creamsicle or no?
I have creamsicle like shirts, like I have creamsicle Buccaneer shirts.
I've got a couple of those. I've got a Doug Williams jersey and a Warren Sapp jersey that I'm not busting out the Warren Sapp creamsicle until the Bucs go to the Super Bowl.
So I'll make you all a deal. If we win 9 games this year, I'll buy a creamsicle of Shaq Barrett.
All right.
Get a Barrett. That's
perfect.
Because,
right? Well, my thing is with the creamsicle, they're just so associated with losing, and that's again they're wearing them against the Lions
and burning your butt on the metal bleachers at.
Well, I was too young for
the
that.
big sombrero. Yeah.
I mean, it's still part of the Buccaneers' history.
It is.
I know, but it was not. Though.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Right.
I mean, when I look back on it now, it was fun. I mean, because everybody that was at the game
don't look as good. The old ones, at least, like it feels like they're old. You know what I mean? Like it's modern. I just want to see kind of what they look like. If they look good and we win some games, then I'll celebrate and I'll get one around Christmas.
Yeah, I was just kind of disappointed that Tom Brady didn't get to rock the creamsicle. I really was hoping for that.
Well, I think the Glazers would too, but I think there had to at least been a logistical nightmare because the Glazers would do anything to profit off of Brady. Heck, they were selling Brady jerseys when they unveiled them this offseason.
Yeah, they're still.
You should have been in Germany. It was crazy.
They're still making money.
It was Tom Brady mania. I mean, just everywhere. Everywhere that jerseys were sold, you had a Tom Brady jersey that was sitting outside of the store in Germany. I mean, there's this touristy area, and you walk down this touristy area, and that's all you saw. And I swear, everybody had on a Tom Brady jersey. It was wild. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. Folks, if you get a chance to go to Germany, forget about London. London is minor. It's all about Germany. It's all about the beer. So you get a chance to go to Germany, make that trip.
Who's the Germany game this year? I think like the Chiefs.
I think it's the Chiefs and the Dolphins. Is it the Chiefs and the Dolphins?
That's nice for Germany.
That would be a sexy game to go to right there.
Yeah, that's a good game.
No, normally, I mean, like until Tom Brady went to Germany, normally the London games didn't get quarterbacks unless you think
that game
and you like watching interceptions. But like normally the London games would just be really crappy games. Last year, I think the Seahawks had a good game with us, and Tom Brady did okay. They tried to throw him the pass, but like, it's not like he played really good. But you're telling me if Tua is healthy in the Dolphins and the Chiefs,
I'm telling you.
Let's go.
Everybody, there was 60,000 plus. They were all singing Country Road. The John Denver song, it was unreal.
Oh, I know. Our stadium tried to play it when we were down 21 points to the And the Eagles fans were singing.
No, you had to be there because.
Well, I know, Gene. I know. I was just making a joke because now that the Bucs are trying to make it.
But you have no idea, though. This was a freaking karaoke bar. Because every single American classic rock song that they played in the stadium, everybody knew the words to. And they were like singing it. I even knew that there were some guys that were like doing the DMX thing. And they were like pacing back and forth behind me. and they were just like, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. And they were just, you had to be there. It was crazy. So again,
you're making me imagine a German white boy just going off the DMX.
Oh, you had to.
That's a fun sight.
And those people are so creative. I mean, you had people from all over Europe that converged on Germany that love football so much that they had to be there. And it was just incredible that the Bucs got to be a part of something that special.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like you guys said, it's Chiefs and Dolphins, and then also Patriots and Colts this year. So, one good game, one so-so
one
game.
Stinker, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Colts game, for instance, that sounds like a London Germany game. But that Dolphins,
they need to flex that to London.
Were the two partners for Germany. I remember that because they had the whole map thing. So I was like, I knew it was the Chiefs. I didn't know it was the Dolphins. Like, let's go.
Yeah, that should be fun.
I'd wake up at 9 a.m. to watch that.
Yeah, that should be the highlight. I think there's another one mixed in for London. I think it's Baltimore and someone else. But this week you have Jacksonville and Buffalo, which could be a good game.
If Jacksonville wants to play like they did second half of last year, I mean,
there you go.
Von Miller making his trip. There's the word that he might be coming back.
Yeah.
If you happen to own the Bills defense in fantasy, especially in your main league against Pless and pals.
Yeah.
And real quick, somebody mentioned Yaya Diaby, and I do want to say that Michael Pless and Real Bucs Talk have done a great job with that breakdown. Get a chance to watch that. It just gives you hope for the future, and it really makes you appreciate the general manager we have. And from now on, if somebody wants to fire Jason Light, you got to come up with a good name for somebody to replace him. I don't want to hear, oh, Jason Light sucks because he drafted a kicker. I don't want to hear that anymore.
Other than Howie Roseman, I don't know. Brandon Beane, is I think on the same level as Light, but Light has a Super Bowl under his belt.
Exactly. But if you look at Super Bowl lore and you look at Rich McKay and what Rich McKay did, Rich McKay started with Sam Weish, Tony Dungy, and he ended with John Gruden. And then from there he went to Atlanta. And you look at Jason Light. Jason Light started out with Lovey Dovey. Well, actually, Lovey Dovey started out with him.
Lovey chose him.
Yeah, Lovey chose him.
Lovey had personnel decisions.
Right. So it went from Dirk Cutter.
Lovey's best move.
This is the only
other than drafting Mike Evans, that's probably it.
Yeah, spot on. And I look at what Jason Light has done, and I have to start Jason Light out with Dirk Cutter, and then Bruce Arians, and now you've got Todd Bowles, and I'm really happy with the moves that he's made. And you can't tell me of a general manager in the NFL that hadn't made a suspect pick that you're like, the hell is this guy thinking about? But if you look at the juice versus the squeeze, I tell you what, I wouldn't want it any other way. I would want Jason Light as a general manager. Having dealt with that jackass from Mark Dominic or Bruce Allen, those two combined, that's enough horrible for me for a lifetime. And that's why I say, I'm happy with Jason Light, happy with what he's done. I mean,
Mark Dominic Mark Dominic gave you Levante David. Let's at least give him something.
A broke clock is broke twice a day. What is it? Yeah. Broke clock works twice a day or something like that.
Joe McCoy.
Joe McCoy and Levante David. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think Jason, the biggest thing with Jason is he's done a great job of just building a culture there, but also, understanding from his mistakes, learning from his mistakes, learning how to adjust, and also build a staff, that has become really strong, especially 100%. With the salary cap, especially with scouting and just finding new ways to, do different things. I think. Yeah,
it was just so unexpected.
That's Chauncey's little ass came up with the whole scheme ass thing.
I think he's out, so we don't have to worry about him.
In his mouth.
But yeah, Jason, I'm really happy Jason's gotten the time that he has, and I think the Glazers have put a lot of trust in him. And that's saying a lot because usually GMs don't survive, the coaching changes that have taken place.
100%.
So yeah,
he's pushing on a decade almost, isn't he?
Yeah, this is his 10th year. So yeah, really excited to see, how this team continues to build and where it goes from here. But he's definitely, you can see where he's put more emphasis on, the trenches, and finding, skill guys there. But also he's hit as far as like certain positions, like receiver and cornerback. Receiver and cornerback, he's got like locked down pat. Like he's found ways to find guys there, which is really impressive.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, guys, I cannot believe we've been talking about an hour here. That's crazy. Pless, what do you got working on? What do you got cooking right now, man? I know everybody wants to call you the doctor. I would rather call you the GM, man, because just the way you flex on this stuff is amazing.
Yeah, nothing right now. We got some things we got some things that we're working on, but right now, as far as like tonight, I'm really excited about the Loki season 2 premiere. So I'm going to definitely watch that on Disney Plus because I love that show. I love Loki.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's really good stuff. I got to catch up on a Ahsoka. I know that was pretty good, so I need to catch up on that. But yeah, I mean, we'll have more.
Have you seen the John Wick?
I haven't seen the Continental yet, so
they made a show about John Wick.
Well, it's about Winston and like his time. It kind of goes back.
What's it on?
Winston was kind of a scumbag.
It's on Peacock. I don't have Peacock at the moment, so I'll have to.
I'll send you the link, man. I got you.
Okay, there you go. Ask Gene. But yeah, I mean, we'll have our film studies. Coming up. I think Chris Godwin's probably the next one, just showing like how he's being utilized at his best outside. And, I'm sure we'll have one on Tristan Wirfs because, again, like Ken said, he's the best left tackle in the league.
Unbelievable.
He's not human. I think he's alien. Like he was
freaking jumped out of a freaking pool. We should have knew something there.
He didn't play left tackle in college. He played like not even a full game's worth of snaps at left.
Right.
Realistically, could you put him at center?
Alien like is because, like, again, I made the train. I used a right-handed stance the only year that I played in high school, and I played on both sides just because, man, it took a lot to literally learn how to do everything with your non-dominant hand. And he did it against NFL competition.
Bro, so I got to ask you: is there a possibility that you could see Tristan Wirfs at center?
You have a better chance of seeing Tristan Wirfs with a gold jacket than you do at center.
Yeah. I think who you could see at center, though, is Cody Mock. I think that could be your future
center. That could be your long term.
Yeah. My guy is missing front teeth. I love him. I love him. I love his family. His family's amazing. I don't know if I'm following his uncle. Great guy.
His father, pretty active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's playing really well. I'm excited for him.
Definitely. And this is at my expectations. I'm happy with the moves that are made. I'm happy with Todd Bowles and the way he's been calling games. I'm happy with Baker Mayfield. And again, I was indifferent. I was wrong. I should have been all in, but I wasn't. But I am now. Remember that part, folks. I am now all in. So plus tell everybody how they get a hold of you.
Yeah, real simple. Just check out YouTube. It's at Real Bucs Talk. You can follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I go with Twitter because that's just easier and it's just easier to say. So
the domain name is still Twitter, though, I think, when you search it.
There you go. So yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. Check out us on Facebook as well. We do have a Facebook group where I put all our videos up there as well. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. That's winning is fun. You can see the difference in views when we win a game versus when we lose. It's like that Eagles loss. It's like everything is ending.
And you try to rein people in, man, and people are like,
nobody wants to watch about the drops and the miscues and and that's what was funny about the Eagles versus the Saints. They didn't really Dave Canales didn't change much, but what he did change actually, it helped obviously, but the guys just executed. They caught the football.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. Like, you didn't have drops. You didn't have things that were, costing you your drives.
Yeah.
They did have penalties, but again, with that crew, they're going to call every flag in the book because that's just what they do.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up after the show's almost over.
Yeah. But anyway, appreciate all the support you guys give, and be sure to hit that like button for Buck What You Heard. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm trying to get this guy to 1,000 subscribers. It's well overdue. Let's make it happen. So if you're watching on Real Bucks Talk, please go to Buck What You Heard on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. You're gonna love all the content that he brings. And again, you get to see more of me, get to see more of Ken. It's awesome.
Yeah, but you don't have to see Mark, and that's the good thing.
There you go. Yeah, Mark stays away.
Mark stays away.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, folks, thank you so much. KB, how can people get a hold of you, or do you want people to get a hold of you?
Let's just say my next podcast, maybe up here, you'll see Taylor Swift up in the booth, and we can get more.
Don't do this to me, man. So now he's going to have Taylor Swift at his, and now we're going to be over inundated with Swifties now.
Well, all I'm going to say is dating a celebrity never works out, especially for athletes. Look at what the Kardashians have done to the NBA, and look at what Taylor Swift's done to Travis Kelce in pretty much his Andy Reid tenure at Kansas City. Ever since like his rookie year, it hasn't been this bad. That's all.
You know what? I used to think she was the mean girl in the High School movie, but I actually like Taylor Swift. True story.
Are you sure it's not a love story?
No, not my type.
So is it just a blank space in your heart, Gene?
No.
Or should you have said no?
Somebody like that.
You should have said no.
I need somebody more gangster.
Well, I'm sure she's going to make a transition to rap before she officially retires from music. But yeah, no, you guys know you can find me. If you follow Gene, you know enough about what my Twitter handle is. But just enjoy this. Watch some Red Zone this weekend. Watch the Saints versus the Patriots. The Patriots can help make this division look very juicy.
Yeah. God, they can't score though.
Sassy and sexy.
But if there's
both teams can't score.
Yeah, but okay, well, the Patriots just traded for an elite corner for at least their scheme. Yeah. They lost one and they gained one. So if Derek Carr wants to turn the ball over or just only throw 5-yard passes, maybe not Mac Jones. I forgot the other kid's name. Maybe he can provide a Bailey Zappi. Maybe he can provide a little bit of a
spark. We're about to see. We're about to see how this all plays
out. Is he starting?
He might be. I mean, if there's a time to do it, it's right now. And then Ritter is probably at least on his last straw. We all know what the Taylor Heineke story is.
I can't. Yeah,
bro. Seriously,
I can't stand Mac Jones. So I'm like,
Mac Jones.
Get him out of there.
I think this is Mac Jones' last year as a starter, at least for the foreseeable future. When you see the amount of quarterbacks going to be drafted, again, I think the Falcons are going to be a team looking at a quarterback in this upcoming draft. Kirk Cousins probably
got to hit on it. There you go. That he would be perfect for Atlanta. Kirk, not Mike Cousins, coming to Atlanta.
Actually, I think if there's a team to actually trade for him, it's not the Jets, it's the Falcons. But that's a story for a different day.
Yeah.
I don't think Minnesota can do it. But from that standpoint, you guys know where to find me. Enjoy some Thursday Night Football. I know Pless is going to watch Loki. I'm going to watch a reality TV show that's called The Chicago Bears and check to see if Matt Eberflus is fired by midnight.
I'm actually going to watch Equalizer 3 again because it was just that good.
Wait, is that the new one with Denzel?
Yeah, that's the new one with Denzel. Dude,
I gotta watch all of those.
Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor and watch it. It's just so good. And I don't know why, but I like Senseless Violence. John Wick, The Equalizer, and I will say
John Wick's senseless violence. I think that's literally an art form, is what I would call John Wick. Because I wasn't a huge fan of I thought the first John Wick was cool, but I was like, oh, they're really gonna build a universe out of this. No, I was the most thorough. Keanu Reeves never did it for me. I never Really,
I love Keanu Reeves.
Like, The Matrix is The Matrix, but like 2 and 3 are bad. Like Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves. How can you not like Keanu Reeves? I just don't think he's the greatest actor of our generation.
When you talk about John Wick, though, man, this guy is just like laid bodies out there for you. What is that song? Every time I watch him, I see "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." That's going through my head.
We're talking about Shane Falco here now. Come on now. Best left-handed quarterback of all time.
Okay, I'll give you the replacements. The replacements is
I got the man's jersey.
Keanu Reeves non-John Wick film. Okay. I mean, like he plays a love interest with Jack, Nicholson and Diane Keaton. I think he did pretty okay in that. And then what else has he really done? Oh,
Constantine.
Oh,
Constantine was so good. That was really good.
See, I think you guys are seeing that, like, the campy,
Point Break
doesn't do it for me. But like
Bill and Ted,
John Wick, that hit.
I mean, from Bill and Ted to John Wick, this guy just has so much range.
Hey, my dog Ted was named after Bill and Ted. I didn't name him, but his foster was named him Ted. For Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for checking us out. I really appreciate it. I've been looking at the chat. Majority of the people that have been watching have been real Bucs Talk fans. I'd love for you guys to become Buck What You Heard fans. You guys are great. I really appreciate the engagement. Thank you so much. We do this every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. When KB's not traveling, try to get him on. When Pless is available, this to me is the most fun that I have all week, man, getting to hang out with my boys here and talk football, because it's just this is an exciting season. It didn't start out that way, but it is an exciting season right now. And I just know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have so much more in store. I'm excited. And again, this guy right here talking about Canales possibly going to Chicago or something like that.
Not happening.
Not happening.
Well,
just don't
please. I'll end it on this. Canales, I think I said on the first podcast that we did this offseason with Josh Capo, I was like, hey, if he wins 9 or 10 games with this offense, he will at least, get looks. And I think he will get interviews. But from a head coaching standpoint, you have to have 20 coaches on hand ready to join you. He doesn't have that type of coaching tree, and the majority of the coaches in Tampa outside of Brad Idzik are BA guys. Yeah. So from that standpoint, I think he has to build a little bit more of a resume, but he's going to get interviews. I don't care what anyone said. If this team wins 9 or 10 games, he's going to get some interviews. He's not going to get a job, though. There's also some really good ones out there. Ben Johnson, who are going to play in Detroit, for instance. Heck, Raheem Morris is making a very nice case with what he's doing with the Rams defense, especially with literally all rookies minus Aaron Donald and no Jalen Ramsey. Like, he's been around.
And I do want to say this, just real quick. I really believe that he's going to be here for at least 3 seasons.
I say if he does this season and next season and we're above 500, if I'm a team and I'm obviously trying to build with a young quarterback, I don't know how you don't at least give this guy a chance if he can turn around Geno and make Baker. If let's say Baker projects what he does in the first 4 games over 17, it's going to be his best season in the NFL.
Yeah, of his career.
He's gone through. I don't know how an organization could look at Dave Canales and say, I can at least give that guy a shot.
100%.
Yep.
Especially when you hear the guy talk. I'm sorry. I
love his Twitter. His Twitter is fire, man.
Every Wednesday when he speaks, I stop what I'm doing to watch that interview because that guy makes me want to run through a freaking wall. Yeah. And in the most polite, well-spoken, well-mannered way. It's not like Bruce Arians where I want to, I don't even smoke cigars, but I would smoke a stogie with Bruce Arians with an old-fashioned in hand. Like Dave Canales, I just want to listen to the guy.
Yeah, he gets you motivated. Yeah. And Krillin, for the record, Arch Manning is trash. Just FYI, just putting that out there.
Ewers is probably going to be a late first, early second round pick. But like from a Canales standpoint, I just don't know how you can't listen to the guy and his accountability. In my profession, people find excuses for everything. Leftwich would just deflect whatever and say,
I know that fool. His press conferences used to piss me off. Just listening to this guy.
Dave Canales, in very limited opportunities, he's such a good public speaker and takes so much accountability, which in the NFL no one does. It's such a breath of fresh air. Mine is what's his face, Dan Campbell being like all knee bitering.
True story.
People can get with that, but like, who's really like, other than like Mike Tomlin, is someone just like super calm, but like people are, able to, really believe in the guy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Everybody have a great weekend. I'm going to probably go to the ASU Colorado game so I can see Coach Prime. Never seen him in person. Should be fun. And as far as Arch Manning, yeah. And so, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive. And enjoy yourself. Stay safe, everybody, and have a good week. And